How is it going? Did I catch you guys at a bad time? Well, I guess not since you're watching YouTube. But interestingly, this is a very, very interesting time that we are living in. I mean, this is a time period where the most important thing that people are focusing on is mental health, work-life balance, de-stressing, living your life, getting your mental state good. But on the contrary, this is the time period where people are the most depressed. Why do you think that is? I'm asking this question because since let's talk about today. Today, I felt it myself. Here, today is Monday, and it was a very hard day for me. Between a large amount of failures, you get only 3 to 4 success. You get 3 to 4 wins that you're not satisfied with. So does that mean I have to change my expectations? Well, I certainly hope not. That would be rather foolish and inconsequential if I just start changing what goals I have in mind, what I am going to achieve. That would be a kick in the nuts for my own beliefs. Now let's look at one thing. Although I did fail, and between the time I was overcomplicating, overthinking, overanalyzing the stuff that I was doing, I was going more and more depressed. Isn't it interesting that the more you start thinking, the more you start analyzing, the more you feel that you are going down a rabbit hole of depression, anxiety, and overthinking? To answer my previous question about the interesting time period we live in, I think the answer to that is in order to lead a work-life balance, in order to keep our mental health as good as possible, we are thinking so much, we are focusing so much on not stressing ourselves that the thought of not stressing ourselves is stressing us. It is because our goals are not definite. If Arjuna didn't shoot the arrow by looking at the fish eye, but looking at the pole holding it, or thinking about the wind going on, or overanalyzing the shot, overanalyzing the projectile, sitting with his bow, calculating the projectile motion, he would not have been able to hit it because he would have been so distracted by the unnecessary things. Your mind is a very efficient organ. It does not work like a machine learning model. You just put all this stuff into it, it will take all of this stuff and then put it inside a bottle and just put it out to the world. No, it doesn't work like that. It does take all the input, but then it understands the core concept. But the problem there is the more input you put, the more hallucinating it does, the more complicated thinking it becomes. Then you start to analyze, and your brain starts working in 10,000 miles per hour, which is not a bad thing if you are putting it into the right way, but you are just putting it into how to not get stressed. So the only thing you are seeing is stress as a function of X. Stress due to family, stress due to relationships, stress due to work, stress due to this, due to that. You're looking at so much problems that your mind has become a breeding ground for problems. And why am I keeping myself out of this? In fact, I am very guilty of it. Thinking that I'm not doing things right, I start going to YouTube and Instagram and start searching it and looking at all of the examples so that I could just get a dopamine hit without doing the actual work. You could argue, and I could argue that it's okay, tutorials are a part of the learning process, but there is a limit to how much tutorials should watch. Tutorials are taken as tutorials only when they are giving you learning lessons, not when you are just procrastinating by watching them. This has become a great epidemic in today's society, which I'm seeing, and I'm sure you would have felt it or seen it with your eyes. That people nowadays watch the motivational content, the educational content as a means of procrastination. Recently, I was talking to a guy, and he's a student. He's a student in some arts college. Okay, and he does good paintings and all. And we were talking. I told him that am into the IT industry and stuff. And do you know what he said to me? He started speaking about AIs and LLMs and tokens. So that to the things that celebrities are saying that AI will take your jobs. That he read a post from the guy who acted in Batman that AI is not what it is. That he read a post from Joe Rogan that was something, some shit like that. Bro, why are you focusing on the wrong things? You could have a general curiosity, but you shouldn't make a personality out of it. Another example would be my family group. My goodness. Of course, you guys don't have faced it yourself. They will be sending you, various kinds of motivational things, various kinds of mm, nutritional fitness things, which they don't even understand themselves. They're just looking at some guy. on YouTube thinking that guy is a freaking doctor or something. But that is not true. That guy is just a normal person like you and me, and he is just making content without knowing anything. There is a lot of fake content out there, and there is a lot of informational content too. And if you start getting into it, and you start loving it, and you start using it as a procrastination, you will never get out of this. You are stuck, and you are stuck for a long, long time. This is something we call the intelligent procrastination. With the evolvement of technology and the evolvement of AI, the use cases, for example, writing your assignments, doing the coding projects, writing down the raw code, they have become far easier than they used to be. And I'm not against that. It's good. In the ancient times, there were bullock carts, but now we have cars, and it's good to use cars. To use a car, you also need to know how that car would turn, that you have to steer the steering wheel and the car would turn, how to apply the brakes, how to apply the gears. You need to understand all of that. Now, don't talk about freaking manual cars, bro. You still need to understand the complexities of how to calculate distance when you are driving the car, how to when to apply the brakes, and all of that. I'm not against automation and user-friendly things. What I am against is when people use technology as an excuse for working. They let the ChatGPT or Gemini write the entire code for them or the entire essay or the entire email for them, but you don't even have the courtesy to go through it and make the changes necessary or think about how they should approach that essay or that email or that script from their mind. They do not put the effort into it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I have especially seen this many times with the coders, with the developers. I'm fine with you using code, using AI to generate code snippets and all, but understand the architecture, understand why the stack is not being used and why other stack is being used. Understand that. That is the hard thing that you have to go through, you have to grind it out. Speaking of grinding it out, one of these few skills, I think it's the only skill which is the hardest, which requires no degree, no experience, or no nothing to start with. You can start with it anytime, anywhere, with anyone. Is sales, the god of all skills. And currently, I think there is a trend going on about how one should learn how to present themselves, how to sell themselves, the communication aspect, how to improve your communication, how to improve your narration. People love to hear that. They love to. get tutorials, watch YouTube videos, and read blogs about it, but they never go out and talk to real people. Oh, I've read 4 books in psychology, but I don't know how to implement it because I don't go out and I don't know how real people perform. That is a load of shit, and you know it. You are reading Machiavelli, but you don't know how to implement it in your life. You are reading Robert Greene, but you do not talk to any people. You do not have any experience in that regard. And with time, we face entropy. Anything which doesn't grow decreases. Anything which does not evolve devolves. So, the skills that you learn, if you don't use them, they become unusable. They don't even stay in your mind. It's a horrible loop, a loop of reading, implementing, copy, forgetting, and then reading again. It's a horrible loop. You need to get out of this loop. It's hard, I know. As I said, today was Monday, and yesterday was Sunday. I went with girls and stuff. I had fun, at least some fun, and I was tired. I don't think I slept right. And today I had training in company. So I was coming back. I was walking down my society. I've been here for like 7 to 8 days. So there is a shortcut from the gate to the block we live in. It's a big society, like a very big society. So there is a shortcut, and I took the shortcut, and I was so tired and so sleepy that I couldn't find the way. I just looped around the entire society for 2 times. I was so tired. And I was so tired, I didn't know when the bus reached the society. I was sitting there with my eyes half closed, falling half asleep, till the conductor saw me and woke me up from my half asleep state. And he was like, "You reached. This is the last stop." God damn. But you know what I did? I came home, had my lunch, drank coffee. Coffee is a superfood, by the way. Superfood. Amazing stuff. Drank my coffee, did the walk. Then, even though I went to the gym, grinded it out. But before gym, I had coffee. Yeah, and the universe. I heard the message from the universe today. It told me to approach more, to put myself more out there, to be more clear with my intent, not go indirectly, but directly, straight up. No bullshit. No moving around, no fucking around, just your goal. That is what the universe spoke to me today. Well, I would like to believe that that was the message of the universe. And I don't know that maybe that is just a lesson or a conclusion that I reached by myself because the indirect things didn't work today, although they were quite fun. So yes, you need to prevent things that are out of the goal, and you need to look at what you are prioritizing. If you keep prioritizing bullshit things, you are going to get bullshit results. And you could argue that I'm saying to be in control, and at the same time, I'm saying to not be in control. But that is the yin and yang. That is the chaos and order. You have to adapt yourself to the uncertainty. As much as it hurts, as much as this certainty seems stable, you need to get out of the comfort zone. But we'll discuss about comfort zones sometime later. I guess that's it for today. Alright, guys. Bye bye. I hope you have an amazing day ahead. Or if you are listening this to before bedtime, I do hope you have an amazing sleep because that is a beautiful state to be in.